right, my friends. We just pressed the Let's Go Live button, which means we've got to wait for the stream to fire up all across the fruited plain of the interwebs before we go ahead and get started. Got to make sure those tubes are connected. Sometimes they don't connect themselves, and that is a problem. But it looks like we are connecting. We're getting things locked and loaded. That's tremendous news. That means we can go ahead and get started. So let's do it. There's locals, shall we? Hello, my friends, and welcome back to yet another episode of Watching the Watchers Live, the show that spotlights misconduct involving police, prosecutors, and politicians. My name is Robert Gouveia. I am a criminal defense attorney, and today we're talking about Jack Smith, and he did not have a good day in Florida. Got grilled by Judge Cannon. We're going to go through it today. Of course, we're always a little bit disconnected when we're in Florida because there's no cell phones in the courtroom. There is no live tweeting, no Xing. Nothing's happening. And that's a big problem for us. But what we're going to do is poke around with some of the people who were there and also see what the news reported for us, courtesy of NBC and some other entities. So we'll see what's cooking over there. Now, I'm wondering why Rumble's not kicking over. There it is. All right. Rumble's good. All right, good. Rumble's on the scene. That's great news. We'll go through all that. Got a couple of clips. Got one from Doug Burgum. There's a little Bergmentum going on. We also have this clip from this lady. She's like, why should we even be talking about these issues? Now, we're talking about the classified documents case, and we also released a video over the weekend about the spy groups, essentially, the expert homeland intelligence groups and other entities that are spying on Americans and using the pretext of the federal government to do it. But America First Legal is now saying that they used Mar-a-Lago and all of the American reaction to Mar-a-Lago as justification to continue their spying. So we'll take a look at that story. Another drop from America First Legal. And then we'll see what's happening tomorrow, because we'll be back tomorrow in Florida for day 3 of this hearing. And we'll see what's cooking over there in Florida as well. Then I want to go through this other last minute filing from Jack. Remember last week, Judge Cannon told us to submit documents, both sides. We have Jack's submission, which is his supplemental brief on some of the other issues that came up last week on Friday. We have his. I do not have Trump's yet, so we'll go through Jack's today. We'll go through Trump's tomorrow. But I want to show you just how this is getting bad. I mean, they're basically lying. So this woman, you know her as Lisa Rubin on MSNBC. She's, okay, we'll just leave that there. But she was out here telling her audience that there were thousands of complaints all flying in because Judge Cannon is so incompetent over there. Well, it turns out they were all orchestrated, okay? Even the court has now just thrown them right into the garbage, into the shredder, because they're just orchestrated. They're from a bunch of demented leftoids who are very upset about this. So they just all day because they got nothing else to do other than, you know, collecting their Biden checks, getting their student loans wiped out or whatever they're doing. So MSNBC's whining about it. We'll take a look at some filings. We'll see what's happening in court. We'll check in on the filings. And then we'll start doing some debate prep. I mean, I was going to try to wait. I know it's a little early. It's Monday. We're going to try to wait on the debate prep, but we can't do it. All right. Jake Tapper is now getting just raked over the coals. Of course, he's going to be one of the independent partisan debate moderators, along with Dana Bash, who is one of the most demented TDSers there's out there on the cable news stations, at least. For context. But these are some of Tapper's biggest lies. Everybody on X today is just dropping links all over the place. So I've got a bunch of them queued up. A bunch of people you know and love are dropping all the... Remember when Jake said this about Trump? Remember when Jake called Trump a Hitler? Remember all the things. Oh, man, I misscheduled the live stream. Oh, man, on Rumble. Sorry, dudes. Sorry, my friends, I misscheduled this. So I put it on my personal channel, not the other channel. Dang it. How did I do that? Hang on a second. Let me see if I can fix this. Yeah, I screwed it up on Rumble like a doofus. Let's see. Can I change this channel at all? No, I can't do it. Wait. Your changes have been saved. Could that have fixed it? Oh my gosh. Did that fix it? Holy moly. That might have done it. All right. Well, your boy done goofed on the scheduling, but I think I might have just fixed it real fast. Let's check the Rumble streams. And let's see if that one pops back up. All right. Might be on the right channel now. All right. So as you can see, we've got 3 good segments to get to today, which is going to be a lot of fun. I can't believe it. Wow, I can't believe it worked. Can we just pause for a minute? Wow, amazing. I just fixed something with like a single click. Incredible. All right, show's over, everybody. It's been good. Thanks for joining us. See you later. All right, just kidding. All right, just kidding. I'm really happy about that. All right, so we've got 3 good segments to get to today, and grateful that you're here and with us. As a reminder, this week is going to be a little bit wonktified on the schedule because we got the debate, baby. It's going to be debate season on Thursday. We're going to be live streaming the debate from Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, and it's going to be amazing. So if you want to join us, not for the debate, but if you want to join us for our meetup on Saturday, June 29th, you can still grab your tickets. I have not printed the name tags yet, but we're gonna be printing the name tags. And so if you want to join us, come join us. Time's running out. June 29th, this Saturday, watcherlodge.com. Tickets are still available. And it's going to be from about 12 to 5. Lunch is served at 1 p.m. So if your flight gets in, whatever, we're going to hang out from 12 to 1. Come get lunch. We have a special guest. We got a very special man in attendance. I'm very excited about that. And so I'll tell you that later on. We got a guest. Attendee coming. So it's going to be fun. Come check it out. watcherlodge.com. Links in the description below. Calendar is available. robertgovea.com. If you want to add the calendar to your phone, it's the show calendar. It adjusts. We'll come and see you on the calendar. We also have our community, watchingthewatchers.locals.com. We love our membos. We had a great members only stream this morning for our YouTube members and our locals members. And we talked about the debate, the election, all of the election stuff, all the stuff that we can't get to here is what we're talking about with our membos. We'd love to have you join us. We do streams on Saturday, and they're a lot of fun. So come check it out, watchingthewatchers.locals.com. And it's a great way to support all of our work here and meet some amazing people. Yes. Okay. So we got it on the right channel now. Hopefully Rumble is fired up. All right. Now let's get to it. Jack Smith had a real bad day in Florida. In fact, even Adam Klasfeld said this as the day started there in the classified documents case, posted this bright and early, says Judge Cannon gave Trump prosecutors a rough reception at today's hearing on Jack Smith's funding, only one of the issues, even doing an on-the-spot line item review of their recent disclosures. Ooh, Jack Smith was on hand in court to watch it. Court is in recess. More coming soon. So thank you, Jack, for showing up to watch your little line prosecutors get the old backhand from Judge Cannon. And Jack Smith wasn't bold enough to go up there and take it himself because he's just a weenie. He probably wasn't even sitting in front of the bar, probably sitting back on the first bench podium pew, just like Tish was. I don't know if Jack Smith took his shoes off to stink up the courtroom, although it probably couldn't have been as nearly as bad as whatever Tish had cooking down there. But still, what was he doing there? He was probably getting a little bit nervous because Jack Smith might be on the way out. Now, I have my doubts about that. We'll come back to that later. But woo, he's on the hook here because it's about appointment, illegal, and appropriations, illegal. So he was not supposed to be even in this position in the first place. And he's also somebody who is absconding with government money. And that government money is not his. It's not properly appropriated to him. So we're going to talk about what happened in court today, because obviously it was a pretty rough start. We're going to go through some of the threads here. We're going to see what the news said about this, and then we'll get some reaction from other people talking about this madness before we learn that this Mar-a-Lago raid and this Florida case were used as a pretext to continue to spy on you and me, which is, of course, a lot of fun. And then we'll get our bearings straight on what's happening tomorrow in the Florida classified documents case. So what happened there in court? We got a couple threads pulled up. One from our very good friend, Julie Kelly, who does outstanding reporting on everything she touches all the time. Julie reported this from Florida. In the Florida courthouse, says the debate over the constitutionality of Jack Smith's appointment just concluded after a full Friday and this morning. She says a weedy discussion about which statutory and regulatory authority permits Smith's appointment was what we discussed. And so remember, just zooming out on this a little bit, Jack Smith says that his authority comes from a conglomerate of a bunch of other charges that they know as the Reno regulations. So there's statutes, there's regulations, there's the Constitution, and there's statutes that are created out of the Constitution, and then we have regulations that tell us how to act under the statutes. Now, all of this is happening, and they've gobbled together various other statutes and created some regulations, calling them the Reno regulations, saying this statute says the FBI can do these little things, and over here, the prisons can do these little things. And because they all kind of have like these little bit of powers, we can assemble them and create this new power called special counsel power. And so they're digging into that. Well, what does this say? Well, isn't that for the FBI? So why is that yours? Says Cannon. And isn't that over here for the Bureau of Prisons? Can't they appoint people? But you can't. So what is that? How does that apply? So Cannon pressed both sides to make their case. There was some discussion about independence. Okay, we say the special counsel is independent. So is there any independence? Because last week they told us that Merrick Garland did have some oversight over Jack Smith, because they have to say that in order to make Jack Smith an inferior officer, to tuck him up in there underneath Merrick Garland. Because if he's not, if he's not under Merrick Garland's control, it sounds like he's got his own office then. And where did that office get created? How did that get created? From Congress? No. From the Constitution? No. So where did it come from? Oh yeah, from Merrick Garland's little butt. And we're all tired of what's coming out of there. So they don't want either one of those distinctions to be made, because if Jack Smith is under control of Merrick Garland, well, then guess what? It is political, and he's not an independent special counsel at all. So then the question becomes, did Garland sign off on the indictment? And if he did he inform Joe Biden about it? And if not, why not? He's the Attorney General of the United States. So he doesn't report on that stuff to the president? Is he also does he even subordinate to the president? So we have a little bit of a dividing by zero situation here in our Congress and our Constitution and country, and they're trying to figure out what to do about it. So Cannon pressed both sides. Is he independent or is he under control? What's the deal? And is he a superior or an inferior officer? They say, the DOJ says he's an inferior officer. No, because if you're a superior officer, if you're more of an official office, then you need to be appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate. Jack Smith wasn't either. Now, this is clearly, says Julie Kelly, another example of Congress falling down on the job, ! Ba-ding, by not tightening up special and independent counsel regulations and exercising appropriate oversight. There really is no regulation or rules about it, because they've allowed this assembly of power to happen. Nobody's challenged it over the years. Now it's being challenged. And so the government is returning and saying, well, this is kind of our ordinary course in conduct. We've done this for a long period of time. Nobody's challenged us before previously. And since we've been doing it forever, we can continue to do it forever. Julie says, but in my opinion, the most revealing part of the hearing related to the funding. Yes, we have to take out the two A words, the appointment and the appropriation. Says the special counsel has not released a financial report since September 2023 in violation of the 6-month reporting requirements. Oh no. And they had already been spending millions, like 10 million, 12 million, I think the number was. It was 6 million at one point, then like 12 million, probably 18 million. And remember, every single dollar that they spend, that's our money, first of all. So that's federal government money. It doesn't come out of the Democrat coffers. It comes out of DOJ money, which is our money. So not only is it a limitless funding to use as an attack vector against Biden's political opponent, but Trump has to meet that. Okay, they have all these government prosecutors who are full-time, salivating at the mouth, foaming, furious every morning they wake up with nothing to do, no meaning or purpose in their lives other than to take out Trump. They've been doing it for years. That's how we know this is true. Matthew Colangelo literally goes from office to office to office. If he had a wife and kids, he'd probably follow them around, right? Care about them, moving them around all over the place. But he's just got a mission, which is to take out Trump. And I don't know what his personal life looks like, but we'll see. But anyways, the point is, they have an endless amount of money and resources. Trump, to his credit, has a lot of it. He's a billionaire. He's got 80 plus million Americans at his back, but he still has to spend private money to respond. So for every dollar the government spends, it's 3 to 5 to 10 that Trump has to spend in order to respond. And that's money that is eating into the opportunity cost of running more ads, building more campaign structure, getting out the vote in various states. Cannon, at the hearing today, asked James Pierce, government prosecutor representing the DOJ, about the status. Hey, aren't you supposed to release those reports every 6 months? Pierce said the report was completed in March. Well, it's basically ready, Your Honor. We're just getting our final draft done. There's a review process that's happening. It was done in March, and Cannon says, hey, we're in June. Hello? Almost July. The hell is it? She drilled down, or attempted to, on what she described as the permanent and indefinite appropriation for Smith's office. She noted that the funding is limitless and not subject to any cap. Pierce came up with 2 examples. I have to go back and read them, she says, Julie. In the law that permits this sort of spigot of public funding, he said, well, we have it's unappropriated. We can dip into it. When Cannon suggested, well, the money needs to be accounted for. These vague examples might not survive the court challenge. Pierce quickly responded that the DOJ would find an alternative funding source. Okay, well, if we can't use that money, we'll go get other money. He says, we are going to fund this prosecution, okay? We're going to release all the sex offenders if we have to. I mean, we're going to go release Epstein wherever he's hiding out. We'll go release him if we have to. As long as Trump goes down, we'll go take him out. So we're going to fund it. You better believe it. We'll fire half the friggin' country if we have to do it. Cannon was not impressed, says Julie, expressing concern at, quote, the ease with which the DOJ can find another funding source. Yeah, maybe they'll just go see some more Russian assets or something. Whatever. Maybe some more Putin yachts. You'll steal that from someone else because it's just basically a cartel at this point. Not sure, says Julie, that Pierce's quip helps bolster his argument that Smith's appointment and his appropriations are cut and dry like the DOJ insists. No, it's very clear. We know how he got appointed. We know how our money came into play. Well, what if you can't use that money? Well, it's fine. We got drug money over here. We've got CIA money over here. We got human trafficking money over here. We got it all. What do you want? Trump's defense attorney, Emile Beauvais, represents Donald Trump. He continued to push for specific answers as to how much oversight Garland has over Smith, Trump's defense. He says, well, okay, Your Honor, we want some clarity on this. DOJ says there is some authority over Jack Smith. So does Garland, if Jack Smith is an inferior officer, he works under Garland. Well, then he doesn't need to get appointed by the Senate or by the president and confirmed by the Senate since he's not a superior officer. Okay, well, if he is inferior, then he needs to be under the charge of Merrick Garland, who is appointed and confirmed. So that the accountability, the buck has to stop with someone. And if that's true, did Garland sign off on the indictment? And if that's true, did Garland notify Biden about it? And if he didn't, that's a problem. Why is the DOJ, why is the Attorney General, who's in the presidential cabinet, not notifying the president about indicting his political opponent? We got a problem there. Or he did tell him, and we got another problem. They've been lying to us. They knew all about it. Joe Biden signed off on it. Obviously. Beauvais argued Smith's operation requires interaction between Congress, but it is non-existent. You don't just make up offices out of thin air. Says there is no oversight by Congress for the extraordinary and unprecedented things that are happening in this case. Trump's defense, Emile Beauvais, closed the hearing by asking a question related to this afternoon, which we'll talk about. Jack Smith's proposed partial gag order, which was debated this afternoon, was on Trump banning him for making critical statements about law enforcement. Because remember, they put in a deadly use of force policy in there. use of deadly force policy. And they're allowed to use force only in certain limited circumstances, but they had permission to do it. And as we know, the FBI raids people all the time and they somehow end up dead. So if this was the standard ordinary raid policy manual, then there is a real strong possibility, not zero, it's non-zero, that somebody could have ended up dead at Mar-a-Lago. And I think they probably would have enjoyed that, actually, some of them. Beauvais says Smith's proposal, Trump's defense, is, quote, truly extraordinary effort to gag Trump's speech on a debate stage and on the campaign trail. Wants to know, did the Attorney General approve this? Good questions. Julie Kelly reporting this. And if you want to follow along her latest tweet at the top of our timeline, let's see if there's an afternoon update from Julie. Then we'll jump into some other sources to get some other angles on this. And here we have it. Unbelievable. Julie Kelly's reporting continues from Florida. She tells us from the Florida courthouse, the gag order hearing just ended. We will have details shortly. It says overall, the bad behavior by Jack Smith's team continues. David Harbach, one of the lead prosecutors, almost got himself tossed out of court this afternoon. After several minutes of Harbach's condescending tone, up-talking and slowly speaking as if he were addressing a child, Judge Cannon had enough. She said, Mr. Harbach, I don't appreciate your tone. I expect decorum in my courtroom at all times. If you cannot act appropriately like a man, one of your colleagues can. Yeah, right about that. I don't know. Any man in the government's Jack Smith special counsel's office? They all do the up-talk? Attack a prosecutor? Keep in mind, there are no electronic devices allowed, so she says, I'm just relying on my scribbled notes. Shout out to Julie Kelly. If you're not already following Julie Kelly, you should be. At Julie_Kelly 2. Says he only got marginally better as this event went on. At the end of his exchange with Cannon, he apologized to her. Your Honor, I didn't mean to be unprofessional. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it that time. She gives him this, don't do it again. Keep in mind, during the last hearing, Cannon had to ask Harbach to just calm down, weirdo, as he was pounding the podium and having a temper tantrum. Julie gets to see this firsthand. Aren't you also glad we're paying these clowns? These are our government officials, for crying out loud. Sir, calm down, you weird freak show prosecutor. All right, so that's from Julie Kelly. She's there. That is on the scene reporting. Make sure you're following her. She's also got an outstanding Substack we're subscribed to. She writes all over the place. She does really amazing work. So if you're not following her, please do that, because we would be nowhere without those reports. And so we've got some great news coming up from the journos, the news reporters, who are going to explain next what things are looking like from NBC and from CNN. And so let's get right to it. We've got election updates from the courtroom. Here's what NBC said. Now, this was the scene. Hopefully this article didn't change. Did they change the link on me? Here it is. There were 2 hearings on the classified documents case. Here we go. Here's the article. Now, let's scroll back out a little bit. Couple updates. Earlier, Todd Blanche was on the scene in the courtroom in Florida. Defense attorney Todd Blanche urged the judge overseeing the classified documents case. They're debating about the gag order. So this is this afternoon's hearing. Arguing that Trump's comments cited by government attorneys were aimed at Biden and not the FBI. Saying so Trump can say whatever he wants because he's talking about Joe Biden, wasn't talking about the FBI. Todd Blanche told Judge Cannon, he says, Your Honor, if you look at the actual post, I mean, there's no threats at all to FBI agents. The attacks are against Joe Biden. Now, one of Trump's posts, NBC says falsely claimed, I don't know what's false about it, says that Crooked Joe and his DOJ used their raid and they authorized the FBI to use deadly and lethal force. What is false about that, NBC? It's in there. It's in the manual. It says they are allowed to use it. Only under certain conditions, but they're allowed to use it. So there's nothing false about that at all. Blanche told the judge that, Your Honor, if you agree to modify the terms of Trump's release to bar him, that could result in Trump being arrested. All they would have to do is just anything that he says. He could go on the debate on Thursday, which we're going to cover live from Vegas. And they could just arrest him. So these restrictions are absolutely vague and they're incredibly chilling. Now, the judge was also unhappy today. The judge presiding over the classified documents case reprimanded a prosecutor from Jack's office today. Punk. He was arguing the judge should bar the president from making more inflammatory statements. Cannon told David Harbach, "I don't appreciate your tone," when he appeared to get exasperated as she questioned the need to modify Trump's conditions. What do we need to modify that for? Could they have shot him? Yes. It's in the document. So what's your problem? The judge had noted the names of the agents were redacted and says, well, their names aren't even in there. So there's like not being attacked personally. Harbach says, well, they were doxxed after the search anyway. Someone else found them. So, okay, well, Trump didn't say their names. Okay, Harbach, well, you're whining like a little bee right now. Why are you acting like a little bee? Your behavior is unprofessional. Punk, and warned, if you don't act like a man, I'm going to require someone else to make your arguments if you don't correct your little whiny behavior. Harbach apologized. Sorry, I didn't mean to be so professional and like a weenie. So we had a bunch of other updates that were here, and I think they just kind of spaced them out together, maybe because they're not that interesting. But yeah, here's another one. So for example, here's one from earlier. The judge in the Trump Florida case heard oral arguments on the gag order. On Friday night, Jack Smith also filed his reply to the request, which we're going to take a look at. According to the filing, there were other people who were making bad, dangerous statements, which means Trump should be gagged. An earlier update from this morning. In the Florida hearing this morning, Trump's lawyer, Emil Bove, argued that criminal charges brought by Jack Smith in the documents case should be tossed because Smith is not valid. Bove contended, he said, Garland's appointment of Smith was not constitutional. Smith is not truly independent at all, and that his office should not have an unlimited budget as it currently does from the DOJ. Now, the special counsel's office said, no. It is constitutional because it strikes the balance of independence and accountability. What? According to what statute? Like, where does this come from? Is there a statute that says that's the goal? No. Cannon didn't rule on the motion. 100+ minute hearing. She'll hear other arguments later and then issue her rulings later. And that looks like that was it on the day over from the Florida updates over from NBC. Let's see if they have any other updates for us. Oh, we have some other breaking news. So apparently he's filed the Florida, his appeal in the Big Fanny case. So we'll cover that one tomorrow, but we'll get our hands on that document. So that's what's happening. All right, let's see what CNN had for us, because CNN also was covering this today. Hopefully they got a better update. Here we go. What we covered today from CNN. Judge Eileen Cannon had 2 hearings in Florida. Prosecutors are arguing for a new gag order on the case. We've covered all the filings on that. About the case, we know what it is. Now, here are some of their takeaways. And all right, they've got a full day of activity here. All right, the first day of the hearing, the first hearing of the day has started. So we're winding the clock. We're back here at the beginning of the day, courtesy of CNN. The hearing about whether Jack Smith has lawfully funded his entire operation. Who's in the courtroom? Jack Smith is in the courtroom. Oh, I wonder if he's sitting at the bench with the prosecutors or if he's behind the bar with Tish. He's joined by prosecutors Jay Bratt, James Pierce. Wonder if he even spoke today or just kind of sat there. Now, lawyers for Trump are there, also in the courtroom. 3 defendants were not there, so Trump did not come. Here's some more background. Trump's attorney is speaking. GOP allies also trying to go after Jack Smith's budget. That's good news. As Trump's attorneys argue that Jack Smith has illegal funding, the House is also digging into this. Jordan chairs the House subcommittee on the weaponization of government. Jim Jordan sent a letter that endorsed a bill that would allow a state prosecution case to be moved into federal court. And I'm sure that's not going to go anywhere, but it's nice they're trying. So Cannon is now, we have conversation happening in the courtroom. Trump's defense attorney says, Your Honor, we have to be very clear about this. Jack Smith's office has been in violation of funding statutes from its very inception. Says not only is his appointment illegal because he was never appointed by Joe Biden or confirmed by the Senate at all, but he was also stealing money from its very inception. There's not a valid appropriations that validates what's going on here. The money's illegal. Judge Cannon, who had detailed questions for Beauvais, Trump's defense attorney, says, well, Mr. Beauvais, to your knowledge, is there any cap to the funding? Does Jack Smith ever run out of money? No, says Trump's defense, adding that that was part of the reason the court should be wary of how Smith's office is funded. No, they have no limit. Every other person here, Your Honor, you have a budget. You, lady, you have a budget. I've got a budget. They've got a... Jack Smith has no budget. It's an unlimited slush fund for an unconstitutional appointment. They have no rhyme or reason. They can dip into whatever they want. Cannon says that's very interesting, very curious. Now I want to ask some very specific questions. She's walking attorneys through granular details of all the historic laws that have governed previous special counsel investigations. Okay, so before this one, what law was that? Okay, and that one changed. And how about when this one? And this one is, her questions are focused on the appropriations clause of the Constitution and on a law passed in the wake of Watergate called the Ethics in Government Act. So she's asking both sides all these questions, getting really into the weeds here. Julie Kelly called it weedy. Now, DOJ says, Your Honor, we don't give a crap where this money came from, okay? I will go out, says Jay Bratt, and I will collect dollar bills with the rest of the bums in Washington. I'll stand on the street corners with the rest of them, with Hunter. Prosecutor James Pierce told Cannon that she should find that Jack Smith's office, that should she find that the office was improperly funded, we're prepared to fund Smith's office by itself. He's like, I'll dip into my kid's college fund. I don't care. Because he's not going to have a college left if Trump wins. So that could be like divorces and stuff. The Department of Justice, at least in the 2023 appropriations cycle, has over $1 billion. Make you sick. $1 billion for our government prosecutors? Well, it's just wild. Now, it is the full commitment of the DOJ to fund this prosecution. You better believe that. They'll raid Granny's 401k. Okay, they don't care. Cannon has pressed prosecutors over the limitless nature. What are you talking about? You have $1 billion you're going to dedicate to this? I think there's a separation of powers concern, she says. You guys just have unlimited money. I mean, Congress is supposed to have the power of the purse. You guys just don't have unlimited funds. Congress appropriates the money to you and then you use it. So they didn't appropriate unlimited money for you on this, did they? There's no cap on funding. Cannon told Pierce, she said, look, I'm not indicating anything by asking about alternative funding routes. But my question is, I want to cover the scope of what's been briefed here. Like, where'd the money come from? Updates continue. Now, this is a stupid comment here from CNN. Trump continues to leverage judicial bureaucracy to delay the prosecution. Yeah, they're all doing this stupid little Democrat meme. Delay, delay, delay. They've never heard of the phrase due process or presumption of innocence or any of those concepts, the confrontation clause or any of that. So they just say everything's being delayed. And by the way, they delayed everything. Why did they bring the indictments in 2023? Many of them after Trump announced. How come that happened? Trump's legal team filed several unsuccessful motions to delay. He's trying to investigate his case. Remember in the January 6th case, there were something like 12 million pages of documents, which was more than Walmart versus Visa. So they're trying to bury them in evidence or in discovery. And then when they ask for time to review the discovery, they deny them access, which is essentially the alternative to denying someone access to evidence. You don't technically deny them access to the evidence, but you make it so burdensome and so cumbersome that they practically don't have access. Trump's attorney continues. He says, Your Honor, Judge Cannon, the Justice Department and their appointment of special counsels is not appropriate right now. It needs more oversight from Congress. It says, Cannon, that congressional oversight would curb all this garbage that you see happening here, all the extraordinary things that are happening in this case. And says, Cannon, if you say that the DOJ must fund Smith's offices on its own, as that prosecutor suggested it might do, it would highlight a separation of powers issue. So if they just say we're going to fund it ourselves, that proves our point. Congress didn't give them authority or jurisdiction or special counsel statutes or anything. Our entire point is they can create their own offices, fund them themselves, and prosecute their political opponents, and there is no oversight at all. That's the point. There is no separation of powers. There's no checks and balances. They say they don't need them. In fact, if we say, where'd your money come from? They say, get bent, okay? Mom said, oh, you're going to cut me off for my allowance, Mom? I don't care. I'm selling crack anyways. So I'm like Hunter. I've got all this extra cash flying around until he doesn't have it anymore. So you see how that could be a problem, right, Judge? She said, yeah, I think so. Yeah, big problem. Now it continues. First session is over. Second session is now getting underway. There's a photograph of Emile Beauvais, handsome fellow, walking into court. Second hearing is going to begin 3 p.m. Eastern time. Attorneys will argue over a potential gag order over Trump. Emile Beauvais already previewed some of his arguments, saying that the gag order is truly extraordinary, Your Honor. We've got a debate on Thursday. We've got an election in November. The first debate between Trump and Biden's on Thursday. We're live streaming it from Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. It's going to be the best live stream on the internet because it's going to be beaming out of Trump's internet routers, okay? The Justice Department has said politics is not a consideration in its gag order request. No, no, it's not in the gag order. It's in the entire prosecution. So, yeah, no. I mean, this gag order is not really in particular political. That's because the entire prosecution is. Almost got me. But so Beauvais also questioned whether Attorney General Merrick Garland authorized the gag order. Did he authorize that? Oh, you can't tell us? Did he authorize the indictment? Oh, you can't tell us? Oh, that's fun. So there is no oversight at all. Or there is, and Joe Biden's in charge of the prosecution. So the afternoon session heats up. And what they've done here, as they always do, is they parlay their gag orders. So all the judges and all the prosecutors, they're mostly incompetent people. And I know it might not feel like that because they have a lot of power. And when they exercise their power, it looks like they have authority. But that's the big magician's trick, is they put people in prison and in handcuffs, and they build these big giant buildings, and they put judges up on benches, and the judges look down at everybody. Oh, they're on TV, and they sentence people to prison and stuff. But look at the judges. Okay. We've seen look at, for example, Georgia, what's happening with those judges there who are ending up in jails, vomiting all over themselves or whatever happened with that one. So it's they're human and we all make mistakes. I get it. But the facade of the system is just a facade in many ways. And once they start to wreck their own legitimacy and credibility as they're doing now, their system is going to crumble, which is a shame because I worked really hard to become educated and a purveyor, a merchant of the system, an operator in the system, and now they're wrecking it. It kind of sucks, but whatever. Anyways, what can you do? So third gag order, they copy and paste each other's homework because they're not even that creative. Okay, they can't create anything, which is why when they threw Trump off the ballot in Colorado, Griswold came up with that one with the rest of the Democrats, and then Shenna just copied it. What'd you guys do over there? Can I borrow that? Just like you did in high school, just copy and pasted it right over. Totally lacking in any creativity. Didn't even really have a hearing, just copied the outcome of the hearing too. Same thing's happening here. All you need is one areola judge, like Engeron, to write a nipple-tastic gag order, and everybody just parlays off of that. So he's the first one, then Mercan gags him, then Chutkan gags him, right? They're all being gagged all over the place. It's just a parlay one after another. Chutkan imposed one. Also, Trump has one on the J6 case. We got that one. Mercan had a gag, and Engeron had a gag. So I think this would be his fourth one, actually. Engeron definitely had a gag about the Greenfield stuff. They couldn't talk about anything. So again, Jack Smith is such a pathetic loser that he's just copying basically Engeron's homework. Basically, pathetic. So they asked for the third gag order. Fourth, it's really the fourth. In the New York hush money trial, Mercan, who was also pathetic, didn't want Trump to talk about his daughter who works for Hunter or Joe Biden. Maybe Hunter, I don't know. And Kamala. Jurors and prosecutors. Michael Cohen couldn't talk about him. They could all run their mouth about Trump, but anyways, prosecutors are pathetic, as you can see. So the hearing now happens. This is Judge Cannon, absolutely based as hell. She writes this. Two peers, they told her that she should step down from the case. She's like, get the heck out of here. I'm not giving up this case to you partisan hacks who are going to rig it like Mercan did. Two federal judges wanted her to step down. Absolutely inappropriate, unethical. We'll see if there's any recourse for them. But they tried to pressure her to take this case away from her so that they could generate the outcome that they wanted. She told them to go to hell. Special counsel says threats against an FBI agent help to justify a gag order against Trump. Prosecutors on the classified docs case, they put forward last week, they said, Your Honor, we have to gag Trump or else our agents are going to die. They cited Trump's continued mischaracterization of the FBI policy around the use of deadly force. Did they have the deadly force policy in there or not? They had it in there. We read it verbatim. And it said that they were authorized to use deadly force in certain circumstances. Prosecutors say Trump's false claims that he narrowly escaped death, he could have, you never know. Other people die at FBI raids all the time. Happens every year. Just happened recently. I think those were ATF agents, but you get the point. From federal agents could lead to threats and harassments against them. Yeah, we don't want federal agents to have bad words sent against them. And by the way, these are already criminal acts. Threats and harassment, it's already a crime. They're the FBI. If they are so worried about their threats and harassments against them, why don't they investigate them and arrest the people who are making the threats? Novel idea there, since they're, law enforcement. Trump was in New York. Agents searched the Florida estate. He could have been there. They don't know. Maybe he canceled his trip. Maybe he would have come back. Maybe it was just a decoy. They couldn't have known that. To support this concern, prosecutors in a filing on Friday cited two examples of the threats. And we'll read through some of that. But Trump's attorneys have called the gag order an attack on his First Amendment rights because they are. He's in the middle of a campaign. Every one of these gags is to try to silence him a little bit and to put him under the scrutiny in the possibility of future contempt proceedings, which they've already hit him with in New York. So the updates continue. Now we're back. Judge Cannon's 2-hour hearing on the classified documents case became a close read of past special prosecutors and their funding. There were tough questions for the Justice Department. The judge was careful to say her questions shouldn't imply she had made a decision, but she wanted to know how much money the department is used for its work. Judge said even if the office discloses its spending policy publicly every 6 months, a financial disclosure that would encompass last fall was overdue. Where's your money? And I need guidance from you prosecutors. Explain to me how the laws and the regulations that governed past special prosecutors, at one point bringing up Watergate and Janet Reno as the Attorney General, which was where this was all created. It was the Reno regulations. They just made up special prosecutors out of nowhere. Cannon's questions were so pointed toward Pierce. At one point, the prosecutor mentioned how other courts have been overturned if they invalidated a government function in the way Cannon was. Your Honor, Other courts have gone here in the past and they've been overturned. Okay, the prosecutors hate it when you challenge their institution because they think they're the most powerful people in the country. They really are. They can put you in jail for nothing. Look what's happening to Bannon, Navarro, the J6ers, for nothing. He hoped that the Justice Department could provide additional written argument to the court if you think that invalidating Smith is a serious possibility. So he's basically threatening her. All right, we want an opportunity to show you you're going to get reversed and overturned and on appeal and backhanded big time. Don't you come after the DOJ. Trump's also aiming to bring Congress into the conversation since we live in a separation of powers type of government, or did. We don't want the executive branch to fund itself and also appoint its own officers. Crazy. It's like the definition of dictatorship. You just get to, you're the judge, the jury, the executioner. You get all the money you want. Congress has no oversight over anything. Trump attorney Emil Beauvais advocated at Monday's hearing that Cannon should insist on more oversight of Jack's work and decide that the way the office is funded is unlawful. It's either one or the other. The money is being used in a way Congress has not authorized. Now, the argument's in line with other Trump arguments that he's made. Beauvais also told the judge that more congressional oversight would curb these extraordinary things that were happening. Justice Department attorneys have responded in court that Jack's office operates in line with established policies, my booty, in place over several decades in administrations, and that the DOJ is committed to continuing to fund this prosecution, even if we have to dip into Granny's fund. Republicans on Capitol Hill have also tried to buckle down, and they say Trump continues to delay. Now, as the gag order hearing gets underway, prosecutors in the afternoon session are arguing that changing Trump's release conditions to limit his speech about law enforcement would be constitutional. Your Honor, we can gag him, okay? FBI agents are in danger every day. They step out, they wake up every morning, they put their lives on the line to go harass people about abortion protests, yeah. Ensuring safety of the community. Your Honor, our entire community could be in jeopardy because of Trump. And so this is no longer a case about First Amendment concerns, said David Harbach. Harbach repeatedly mentioned to Cannon, Your Honor, Trump supporters make threats and they harass and they attack officials. And those might be stopped if you just limit Trump's speech. Just shut him up and all this stuff will calm down. The government also cited the court's own authority to protect the community and control Trump, even Trump, when he's awaiting trial outside of a jail cell. Your Honor, you have total control over this. Get your hands on this one. Now, then Cannon came back and laced into him. Judge Cannon dressed down Harbach twice in 20 minutes because this guy was going mental. You can tell. Making tense arguments over the government's request. He's getting hysterical. Okay, this is pound the table stuff. We've already read his motion. It was like a high school motion when he was crying about his poor FBI agents that might be under attack. Like, these are government officials with supposedly training and hardened sensibilities, and they've been on the front lines of criminal law and all this. Give me a break. And then they come back out and you say, you badmouth an FBI agent, and suddenly the whole bureau is going to come careening apart because they're all going to be scared to death hiding in their basements, which may or may not be true. I don't know. Cannon's treatment of the case overall has been closely watched. In a tense exchange over protecting law enforcement officers, so this is where the classified documents case, the judge slammed Harbach over decorum. Harbach appeared to become irritated. They're not used to this. Prosecutors throw their weight around a lot, and judges just cave for them all the time. They get paid by the same people. It's just easier for the government. Defense attorneys only, they can only appeal so much. It's very expensive to appeal. Defendants really can't pay for it. So the judges, they just default towards giving the government whatever they want. They're basically on the same team. So when the government comes out and they start getting irritated and questioned by Cannon, who the hell do you think you're talking to, judge? Who pressed the prosecutor to connect Trump to threats from law enforcement, against law enforcement. Okay, so I know you keep saying that they're under attack. I know you're petrified. Relax, David. But tell me, David, how do Trump's words lead to the harm against the agent? What Trump said. And he starts ranting about who knows whatever, total nonsense. She stopped him, said, hey, I don't appreciate your tone. And I would appreciate decorum at all times in my courtroom. And if you aren't able to do that, I'm sure one of your colleagues can take up arguing this motion. Yes, Your Honor, he says. She says, okay, let's reset. Let's try that again. Go ahead. Here we go. Judge is skeptical of putting a gag order on Trump, obviously. Judge indicated on Monday, I'm a little skeptical about this gag. I want some more evidence that Trump's words are the words that are leading to the threats. Hearing's ongoing, probably not going to get a ruling today. She set a deadline for Wednesday for prosecutors to decide whether they want to provide her more evidence. And Harbach said, we're going to let you know by tomorrow, Judge. We also want both sides adequate opportunity, more time to respond about this gag. Now, the situation highlights how Cannon keeps allowing more arguments and information into the case, often putting off making a decision for weeks. And I think we know why this is going to be happening. But this continues. Your Honor, Trump must be gagged. His speech is beyond irresponsible, because that's what speech is like in America now. You only have free speech in America, according to the DOJ, if your speech is responsible. But if it's beyond responsible, according to some demented prosecutor, that's illegal now. Says Harbach said that Trump's speech should be restricted because it endangers, listen to this, endangers the safety of others in the community. I don't even know what that means. How? Harbach read one of Trump's social media posts about the FBI search in which Trump baselessly said, it wasn't baseless at all. It's in the documents. We put the PDF on the screen here. You saw that the FBI was authorized to kill him. Well, that's in the policy. The government is also at a loss as to, and I don't know that Trump actually used that phrase exactly like that. I think there's a little leeway there, but the point is they were. If Trump came out with a shotgun and said, "Get off my lawn," they would have shot him, clearly. And some FBI agents would have been happy to do that. So would they have been authorized, or would they have been prosecuted if they would have shot Trump if he came out with a shotgun? They would have been prosecuted. It was in their use of force policy. It was right there. So it wasn't that Trump was baseless at all. I'd say it was a low probability that Trump was going to get killed, but they had legal permission to do it. They would have shot him if they had a justification to do it. Don't tell me they wouldn't. Now, the government is, and by the way, they even confirmed this. They said, I don't give a damn about the optics, whatever that other prosecutor was. I don't give a damn. So the government is at a loss to conceive why Mr. Trump would say something so false. Well, because you wrote it in your search warrant and your packet. So inconceivable, or inviting of violence, because you guys did the raid. Trump invited you to come down, offered you lemonade when you were in there with the FBI agents. FBI came into Mar-a-Lago. They were looking around investigating the case. Trump was like, hey, welcome to Mar-a-Lago. Enjoy your time. Adding that the statements are beyond irresponsible. Give me a break. So Cannon says, wait a minute. Well, where do you see a call for violence? Do you see that in the post anywhere? He responded saying, well, ultimately, Your Honor, it results in all types of terrible things. So maybe there's not an actual call to violence, but it's like mean. And it could include threats or harassment to law enforcement. Bunch of babies. They are the biggest babies. But this is all for a purpose, right? They're just stomping their feet. It's like flopping in the NBA. They're just like flopping. Trump posts something and they just fall. They look like little bees. It's pathetic. It's honestly pathetic. I don't even know. Do they have any testosterone in their body at all? At all. Trump lawyers admit that deadly force warrant language is standard. Yes, that's our point. It's not an admission. Yeah, it's standard. That's fine. People die at search raids all the time. We see it happen all the time. FBI kills people in their homes regularly. Donald Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche, argued that the former president never threatened the FBI, that his rhetoric was aimed at Joe Biden. Not even talking about the FBI or their agents, Your Honor. It's about Joe, which are clearly coming from him. Now, the attacks very clearly are against President Biden. Clearly, Your Honor. Read it. Blanche also admitted that the DOJ's department deadly force policy in place was standard for the execution of the search warrants. He says, yeah, of course it was standard, sure. Doesn't mean it was right. There you go. Bingo. It's not an admission. CNN is such a joke. They admitted that. Yeah. It is. Okay, that's fine. You should have taken it out. That's the point. Why was it standard? This is not a standard affair. This is the president who has presidential immunity, which is an open question until the Supreme Court settles that. They didn't take that into consideration. They just presumed he did not have that. That was their interpretation. So they gave him no benefit of the doubt. So they should have modified and executed a raid that was appropriate for the context of this environment. They didn't. They treated him like a random criminal. They put it in there. And guess what? People die in FBI raids. Happens. FBI agents should have never even been armed during the search in the first place. Why did they come in plain clothes? Why did they come with guns if they weren't going to shoot somebody? Fueled by the search warrant documents, the former president didn't falsely claim anything, that Biden had authorized the use of legal force to assassinate him. Maybe he did. We don't know. This misinformation was leveraged in a fundraising campaign. Again, it wasn't misinformation. They sent armed FBI agents in plain clothes with permission to use deadly force into his residence, authorized by Joe Biden. What do you call that? If you were in another country and you said that, if you were in Mexico or any other country, right, where we see like raids on compounds, or one cartel head, another cartel head, or even one government official, the president of one government raids the prime minister of another building or something like that, and armed officials ransack their residence with guns. Yeah, you'd say that maybe it was an assassination attempt. Pretty damn close. This misinformation was not leveraged. It was just communicated by Trump, and then people had a reaction to it. The use of deadly force was authorized. Even CNN admits this. It's so stupid. The use of deadly force was authorized only when necessary. According to who? Merrick Garland? Jack Smith? The other DOJ prosecutors who frankly didn't give a damn about the optics? Okay, so thank you for admitting that deadly force could be used. Thanks, you just acknowledged it. So what did they admit? Nobody's admitting anything. This is just a simple fact. They authorized deadly force. According to court documents, it's standard language. People die in FBI raids all the time. So by virtue of combining all of those concepts together, there is a greater than zero chance that Trump gets executed and assassinated during the raid of his residence, or somebody close to him. And it's by their design, not Trump's. Now, requesting the gag order, Jack doesn't want you to talk about that because it sounds insane, because it is insane, and it's happening in America, and they did it. Deploying these knowingly false and inflammatory language in a combustible atmosphere. You guys created that. Don't raid your opponents with guns. Don't raid their residence with guns. Trump has created, it poses an imminent danger to law enforcement. If the people know the truth about what we're doing, yeah, there could be some upset people. So we have to stop the people from knowing about it. These are the Democrats trying to cover up their assassination attempt. So the prosecutor ultimately apologized to Cannon. He went back. Jack Smith said, hey, you're making us look bad. So he went back. He says, Your Honor, I want to apologize about earlier. I didn't mean to be unprofessional. I'm sorry about that. And she says, it's fine. Don't let that happen again, whatever. So here's another one. The attorney also says, Your Honor, by the way, this gag order is ridiculous. What the government is trying to do here is set a dangerous precedent. They're trying to change Trump's conditions of release. It says now they're trying to vaguely define what a threat is. We don't even know what it is. Also, about any potential rules are going to be very difficult to follow. They want Steve Bannon. They said Steve Bannon making a comment is potentially the kind of thing that could send Trump to jail. They said because Trump could say something, then Bannon could re-say it. And then that could cause a bunch of people to think bad things about the FBI. He also criticized Jack Smith's team for calling Trump supporters his followers and not his voters. Says, we'll concede that people listen to Trump, said Todd Blanche, but that shouldn't bar him from making completely protected political speech. Cannon says, we're going to need more than this, government. In his rebuttal argument, David Harbach, he says, Your Honor, no. Trump's comments are way out of bounds, okay? Nothing like speech that should be protected by the First Amendment. He can't criticize the FBI. Cannon said, hold on a minute. Says the statute that you guys are citing to get power for your gag, it requires a finding relating to the risks to others. Says you don't need a direct cause, but I need something. There needs to be a factual connection between A and B, said Cannon. Trump said this, there's a harm. Connect the two. Harbach said, the prosecutor, that while Trump was welcome to campaign, he's free to talk. There should be certain limits when it comes to the safety of the agents on our case. He says Trump is out there, knock yourself out, which sounds like a violent insurrectionist attack on Trump. He wants Trump to knock himself out. Somebody investigate him for this. Where's the Secret Service? He says, knock yourself out about Trump's campaigning, but you don't get to say things like that. Like what, knock yourself out? Violent. He said of Trump's email and post, and the hearing ended with no ruling from Judge Cannon. Now, big takeaways from that, of course, a lot of thoughts on it from multiple people. But we are watching a situation where Joe Biden is just creating his own offices, where he is prosecuting his opponents and funding himself. Reminds me of Hunter Biden funding himself. Anyways, so indulge in this. MSNBC is wondering, why is Judge Cannon spending so much time on this? They're very upset that this is happening. And you could read into this a couple different ways. Let's see what this woman and MSNBC says.
From Judge Cannon's hearing yesterday.
Well, probably relief more than anything. You know, the reporting is that she did seem skeptical of this challenge to the special counsel appointment. You know, the legality here has been decided by a number of different courts. The concept of a special counsel, an independent counsel, was upheld by the Supreme Court in a big case called Morrison versus Olson. So, as you said, the big surprise really was the fact that she indulged in this argument. She had a 4-hour argument. She appointed amici, friends of the court, to provide additional arguments in addition to that which the parties put on. It seemed to me that most judges would have decided this on the papers quite quickly. I've been trying to think of an analogy, Charles, that maybe ordinary people could understand. And so imagine you've invited a few friends to dinner and you're trying to decide whether to serve red wine or white wine, right? You think about it for a minute, you give it some thought, you think about what you're serving, and you make a decision. Instead, what she did is invite in experts on red wine and experts on white wine and sit them down and listen to 4 hours about which she should serve at her dinner party. It sounds like she asked all the right questions and it's voting in the right direction, but really curious that she would spend this much time on this issue.
Well, it's not red wine versus white wine. It's like red wine versus urine. Okay, that's the difference. One is something that humans consume regularly because it's been curated with checks and balances to facilitate the creation of the wine. The other is just illegitimate excrement that should not even be a part of the conversation. One is properly appointed and confirmed. The other is not and shouldn't be a part of it at all. So that's what Judge Cannon is investigating. Trump's team raised this defense, which is why it is now being brought up. But we have reaction to this case and a bunch of other things from Doug Burgum. Doug Burgum is on this dictator bend, which is exactly what we're witnessing here. And he's going to get some pushback from Caitlin Collins on it. But remember, Joe Biden has a history of just doing whatever he wants. Supreme Court comes out, says you can't do student loans. I don't care, going to do it anyways. Does it anyways. He just keeps finding new ways to, for example, seize Russian property, to just open up the borders, even though the law says you can't really do that. All these other permutations and obfuscations of American civil liberties are coming on the back of Joe. We also have our free speech ripped out from under us under Joe Biden's DOJ and FBI, the prosecution of political opponents, shattering 234 years of historical norms. We now have Biden's DOJ creating its own offices, funding its own offices, and prosecuting its political opponents in our country. So here's Burgum explaining why this is now a dictatorship.
Repeatedly about President Biden. Take a listen to this.
Talk about, being a dictatorship.
Yes,
this is what's happening under Biden. Under Joe Biden, we're actually living under a dictatorship today.
If you want to find out what it's like to live in a dictatorship, we're living in one now.
So we know what it's like under dictatorship, and that dictatorship right now is Joe Biden.
I understand you don't like President Biden's policies on immigration or student loans, but respectfully, I mean, you're calling the democratically elected president a dictator?
Well, we've got three branches of government, and this president, more like any other, has bypassed Congress. Because as a governor of a natural resources state, a big ag state, we're facing over 30 rules and mandates. Each one of those could be 800 pages to 1,400 pages long. None of them have come from Congress, and all of them could literally kill the industries that we have in our state, including baseload electricity, which we need to be competitive in the arms race around AI with China, who's building baseload electricity plants like 2 a month. So that's happening without Congress. And then, of course, on the student loan thing, when the Supreme Court ruled against him, then he just said, hey, we'll figure a different way to do it. So I just think that there's, again, a double standard here. He is bypassing the other two branches of government to push an ideological view, whether it's on economics or whether it's on climate extremism. He's doing that without using the other branches. And I think
you don't like his executive orders and you don't like his policies. I understand that. I don't think anyone expects the Republican governor to agree with President Biden on that. But it's not a dictatorship.
Well, I think, again, part of where this word has come from has been a nonstop media attack on President Trump, saying that, that he might use executive orders when he takes office. And was trying to make the point here that under this current administration, most of the changes that are driving inflation in our country, the stuff he's not doing on the border, which he could be doing with executive orders. I mean, the open borders and the inflation are things that he's doing by himself alone, ignoring the other branches of government.
Well,
and prosecuting his political opponents from his office. They tell us that Jack Smith is not a superior officer, does not need to be appointed by the president, confirmed by the Senate. So he works for Merrick Garland, which means Garland must have signed off on this. And Garland works for Joe. So presumably, Joe signed off on this. So we'll come back tomorrow to see what the rest of this hearing looks like. We know that it will be a big day. Judge Cannon says that on the 25th, we'll be back for the unlawful piercing of the attorney-client privilege conversation, because Trump's defense is saying that they breached his privacy. They raided his building, his residence, got a bunch of documents inside. There were materials related to his conversations with his lawyers. It's going to start tomorrow in a sealed session at 11 a.m. And then after that, it will be public, and we'll pick up and cover it tomorrow here. And so thank you for joining us as we do. Wherever it is you're watching us, if you enjoyed this video, if you're looking forward to staying up to speed on these cases, we'd love it if you subscribed. And thank you for inviting someone you know or love to also come and join us when we go live here so that they can follow along as well. There's a lot to cover, and we can't do it alone. We appreciate you joining us. We also have some great links in the description below to our Watcher Lodge community and our members-only community at watchingthewatchers.locals.com. We'd love to see you join us for some extra content. But coming up next is more on Jack Smith. We're sticking with Florida, so check out this video coming up about Jack Smith's final words, his final submissions on his illegal appointment soon. All right, let's talk about it, my friends. We got Jack Smith submitted a recent filing. And so let's go through this one before we jump into some clips from Jake Tapper. We've got Jack Smith, who is now making a final submission. Jack Smith's final words come into Judge Cannon's courtroom. We know that the judge wanted some more updates on whether Jack Smith is legitimately appointed and legally funded. Jack submitted his supplemental. We'll read through it. We'll get some reaction from Lisa Rubin and then see why they are misleading their viewers there on MSNBC with this fake story about complaints against Cannon. But we're also waiting for Trump's response, his supplemental filing as well. And so when that comes out, we'll cover it. Make sure you're subscribed to see that one. But here is what Jack Smith submitted. So it was a big one with 5 different exhibits attached. So Cannon says, all right, why do you think that you should exist, Jack? We know he should not because he was not lawfully appointed or confirmed. But he submitted this. He's got a bunch of exhibits. And let's see what they're saying. What's the basis? Why does he think he's lawful? He wrote this along with the other exhibits, and we'll go through it. We'll hit the highlights. It's not long. He wrote this. All right, Judge Cannon, you wanted us to tell you why we are even allowed to be here. And so that's what we've done here. We've sent in some following things. these are the statutes where Congress gives us power. And these are other individuals that Bill Barr appointed using the same powers. And so we're just following his powers. We're not making it up at all. So here's what we've got. They say these are statutes that are vesting appointment power that refer to officials. So these are different statutes that come from, their power emanates from the Constitution. Congress passes them into U.S. code. And these are all different sections of the U.S. code. A lot of these. So 50, Title 28, 22, 16, 6, 10, all of them. And that's not all related to Merrick Garland or the DOJ or the Attorney General's office. Let's see here. Okay, so this section provides for the appointment of a, quote, senior official in the Department of Homeland Security. Okay, so not DOJ. Got it. So here's another one. Deputy Undersecretaries of Defense. They also talk about officials. Okay, not DOJ. Got that. Same here. So section 10 is all going to be the DOD. 16 is going to be about Tennessee Valley Authority. 22 is talking about the banks, bank or an alternate governors. So all of this is irrelevant, basically. A governor, alternate governors, Department of State. But they're just saying, look, we use the word officials all the time. And so official can mean what we want it to mean. It says the secretary shall appoint here, in addition, now providing for the Counter-Narcotics Division, which was amended later, the secretary shall appoint a senior official, so that, in other words, Jack Smith is like an official, not an officer, so IAL versus ER, to assume the primary responsibility for coordinating policy and operations within the department, between the department and other federal departments with respect to catching drugs. So that's their supplemental, and this is very short. It says, as noted at the hearing also, Bill Barr, who we know worked for Trump, appointed 3 attorneys as special counsel during his first term as AG. So long time ago, rewind the clock. These appointments include Nicholas Bua, Malcolm Wilkie, and Frederick Lacey. So he came in to investigate Iraq-gate, someone else this banking matter, and someone else this Indulge matter. Stuff that was way before my time. But that was the first time Bill Barr was in session. And so they submitted all of these exhibits. We got a bunch of exhibits, 1, 2, 3, and others. And so let's see what's inside. So here is the first exhibit, Exhibit 1 from the government. And this is a report of this one special counsel. So it's about Indulge. So they're just notifying us. Look, this guy got appointed, Nicholas J. Bua. So I think the pattern we're going to see here is they did it a long time ago, and so we can do it now. That's exactly what it is. So U.S. Senate Republican for Kansas, U.S. Senator. This is a press release from Senator Bob Dole. Remember him? Trip down memory lane. He released this January 7th, media advisory. It says, here are the facts about the authority of the Attorney General. Great deal of confusion about the special counsel. He says, notwithstanding the expiration of the Independent Counsel Act, the Attorney General currently has authority to appoint a special counsel. Why? He says, I have these provisions. U.S. Code 515, U.S. Code 533. Regulatory Independent Counsel Authority from the Code of Federal Regulations. Okay, so he's doing the same thing. It says the Attorney General has authority under regulations. See these regulations? Because we passed regulations, not statutes. Like the independent counsel, the regulations provide that we can do these things. And here's another section. The Attorney General may appoint officials to detect and prosecute crimes, 533, to assist in the protection of persons of the president and to conduct other investigations under the control and directed by the Attorney General. So we've got power. Now, this is old stuff from 1994, so they attached that as an exhibit. Here's another one. Exhibit 3 from Jack Smith says this one's from 1992, another news article. Ex-judge is going to head the bank probe. So Attorney General Bill Barr yesterday appointed a retired federal judge, so somebody who's not appointed as a U.S. attorney, as special counsel. Nixon administration appointee, chairman of the Bush Ethics Committee. And so they're saying, see, Bill Barr did it, so we can do it too. Nothing in here about his lawful appointment, but they're just referencing that that happened. Exhibit 4, going to be the same thing. There it is, same article. Exhibit 5, Barr names another special counsel. This guy is going to be investigating this banking problem. Barr appointed another retired U.S. federal district judge, Lacey of New Jersey, as independent counsel. Not under the independent counsel statute, though. And so he's using the wrong statutes, and he's still hiding behind the old Stonewall. He should appoint a genuinely independent counsel or take the honorable step of resigning. Okay, so look, the point here doesn't make it legal. The fact that they did it doesn't make it legal. And now someone is raising this. They have used this as a nice little gray area. Remember how we say here, you can make your money in the mess. There's a lot of grift in the gray area because you can just finagle whatever you want. There's no clear independent counsel. There is no real special counsel. So they just kind of make it up as they go along. And it's all rigged. It's just money that comes from us into the federal government. MSNBC's whining about this, and listen to this laundry list of just nonsense that comes out of Lisa's mouth here. Here it is from MSNBC.
For us, if you can. I mean, you've done some excellent reporting and coverage on this from the very, very beginning. And I sense have a feel for how this is translating for a lot of the American people outside of the bubble of either side, the Trump MAGA world and those who want to see him go down. Real people out there are concerned about how this is playing out.
Yeah, tell us, Michael.
Real people are definitely concerned. And I think one of the things, Michael, that real people are seeing is that delay is the decision in some cases, that the delay occasioned by, for example, the Supreme Court not taking Jack Smith's invitation to have an appeal directly on presidential immunity, but in
Jack Smith's invitation, he's not inviting them to a birthday party. There's a process by which you appeal to the Supreme Court. You go up to the Court of Appeals. Jack Smith tried to leapfrog them. Lisa, you know that.
Instead, hold it off until the D.C. Circuit acted, and then
that's the formal process.
Not expediting briefing, but really taking their time with the case. Or Judge Cannon.
Why would they? Jack Smith took his sweet time to lead the indictment in the first place. What's the rush?
Slow walking all of the motions that continue to pile up before her. That in and of itself constitutes a real decision that folks are concerned about. And I think the other thing that folks are concerned about is
they're so mad that they can't get their convictions before this election. They're so upset.
Of course, these people have lifetime tenure and there is no recourse for delay. You can't appeal delay, nor can you ask for a recusal based on delay alone. In fact,
there is no delay. It's a red herring. They know that what they're doing is lawfare, and they just have to find justifications to accelerate it. The courts are slow. All courts are slow. The fact that we're even talking about a trial in the J6 case is insane. The fact that SCOTUS is hearing it this quick is also insane. We should have never even been this far in the J6 Chutkan case, but she was like a steamroller trying to get this trial done.
The 11th Circuit has recently been inundated with complaints from people in the public who said, you should remove Judge Cannon from this case based on the fact that she is failing to take action. And in a very short order, the Chief Judge of the Circuit, Bill Pryor, said, look, delay is not, under our rules, a basis for getting somebody out of a decision, getting someone off a case. So I think the American people, if they are concerned about these kinds of delay, they are the ones who can take action.
What?
Only their choices at the ballot box can start to reverse some of what we see as delay actually resulting in almost a decision in the former president's favor. The only way to reverse this is for the people to take action themselves and elect a president who will appoint judges who will consider the rule of law and take it seriously.
What, like more Mercans? Give me a friggin' break. Okay, so there was another clip from her. I think we're not going to play it. I think I misqueued up one of these clips. But she had another clip where she was saying Judge Cannon had all of these real serious complaints coming her way, and that there was some recourse here, which is for people to complain, essentially. There was another clip, I think it was from Jen Psaki's show. Anyways, the point is they're very upset about it. They sent in a bunch of complaints over to the court, and Judge Cannon's court has basically dismissed them because they're all complaining. She's unqualified. She's biased. She's partisan. All these things. No, there was 1,000 complaints that came in to Judge Cannon in 1 week because of angry lefties and other lefty influencers who organized it. The court is no longer even accepting these orchestrated complaints about the judge. Just not going to pay attention to them. Judge Cannon was the victim of an orchestrated campaign. Are they going to gag Jack Smith to stop this orchestrated campaign? Are they going to gag any of the other Trump prosecutors or anybody like Lisa Rubin on MSNBC? No, probably not. The May 22nd opinion from the 11th Circuit, which oversees the court, has received more than 1,000 complaints. They're all basically the same because they copy and paste each other because they have no creativity at all. It's not clear what exactly started the onslaught. I think we have some ideas. People like Glenn and others, Kirshner and others screaming about Cannon every day. Last month, Cannon indefinitely postponed some stuff. And so their plot is to just keep inundating the courts with their little complaints and try to convince people that America is over unless Judge Cannon goes, I guess. Even though she's got lifetime appointment there as a federal judge in Florida, they're going to get people agitated about the presumption of innocence, due process of law, the ability to confront your accusers, the right to a trial, and so on. And they're just going to try to parlay that into more political support for their demented candidate. Our coverage here will continue, and we appreciate you joining us as we do. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking this video wherever it is you're watching it. And if you think you know somebody who might like this video, like this channel, like this content, we'd love to see them over here. The election is heating up. We're going to have a ton of fun here together, and so we'll look forward to seeing you and them back here on the next one. But we're not done yet. We got one final segment on the day, and it's gonna be a lot of Jake Tapper on this segment, so whatever you got to do to prepare yourself. But we got it coming up. It's debate season, my friends, and we've got the biggest lies from Jake Tapper queued up to review. Now, he's going to be moderating this debate along with Dana Bash, and CNN has been telling us it's going to be a fair, neutral, independently moderated debate with some of the two biggest hacks in the political space in America, Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. Now, the internet has gone wild digging up all of the old clips of Jake Tapper. Big questions about whether they're going to cut off Trump's mic, start lacing into him about issues that they think are important, and let Joe Biden escape without any inquisition at all. CNN has already been cutting off Trump surrogates like Caroline Leavitt, already exercising their cut the mic muscles by throwing her off the air. So are they going to do the same thing here during the debate? A lot of people think so. And they've been digging out some responses to Jake Tapper and how he has been acting historically speaking. Jack Posobiec, you know who he is, re-X this one courtesy of Justin Baragona, says, remember this little scene from Jake Tapper, who's going to be fair and independent on this debate?
Serious national security laws and then obstructing and refusing to cooperate with the FBI.
Yeah, whatever this spectacle is that's unfolding before us, let's remember what this case is about. Let's remember what this indictment charges. Again, Donald Trump is charged with a series of federal felonies for mishandling the most sensitive government documents that we have and for obstruction of justice, along with Walt Nauta, who is charged with intentionally...
Cry harder. It was all ridiculous documents. We still don't even know what they were.
Setting up lies to the grand jury, to the FBI. Any way you look at this, and again, despite whatever may be going on in that restaurant, this case isn't going to be settled legally in a cafe. It's going to be settled in the court based on the facts and law.
The folks in the control room, I don't need to see any more of that.
Why?
He's trying to turn this in. He's trying to turn it into a spectacle, into a campaign campaign ad. That's enough of that. We've seen it already. Let's go over again the 37 charges that Donald Trump is facing right now. We don't have to go into each one.
Sure.
But Ellie, if you could like basically detail what are the allegations here? We have counts 1 to 31.
Yeah. They were rigged documents that we don't even know how they got there. They were all manipulated, so we can't review them from a defense perspective to see what was in there in the first place. The chain of custody, the sanctity of the evidence has all been manipulated. The documents moved around. They got placeholders in and out of there. So we don't even know what was found, honestly. The case is so corrupted beyond repair, it's hard to even believe. But Cassie Hunt was the other woman. We had a long conversation the day about her name, and we came up with a nickname for her on our locals, our members only stream this morning. She was the one who cut off the other person on Caroline Leavitt on her channel. And we had an interesting conversation about it because we like to shorten names here, as you know. We don't call Letitia James Tish. We don't call her Letitia. We call her Tish, right? We don't call Hunter Biden Hunter. We call him Hunty. So for Cassie Hunt, we were trying to think about how we can synthesize this all. And we decided on, I think what many people have come to the conclusion on now, that an appropriate name for this would be just to abbreviate the first name so we don't get the last name confused with Hunter. And we just call it K last name Hunt, right? Just K last name Hunt would be a good way to remember who she is, because she also works at this agency, and she also threw Caroline Leavitt off the stage, off her show, because she was defending Jake Tapper. Now, Jake Tapper, of course, as we know, is also a partisan hack. Here was he this morning, here earlier on another excerpt from a long time ago, saying that Trump is basically like Adolf.
The dehumanizing rhetoric of Adolf Hitler is once again alive and well on a national political stage. This time, of course, in the United States. This time given life by former president and current Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump.
Let's recognize this comment for what it is, a long-standing anti-Semitic trope that the true allegiance for Jews is to their religion rather than their country. It was used in Nazi Germany to justify the arrests, persecutions, and mass killings, attempted extermination of the Jewish people. And Trump has been pushing this trope for years.
Wow.
He talks about the blood of America as being poisoned, echoing the same exact language used in Nazi Germany.
Yeah. All right. So all these people, okay, Trump is a little Nazi. Here was Jake Tapper again. Here's another flashback from Francis Bernin. Says Jake Tapper, who's moderating the debate, says Trump is leading us down the drain. Okay, so here's demented Jake doing this thing.
So the erosion of basic standards of civility and human decency continues. It's not just a Republican phenomenon, but we are being led down the drain by President Trump. To Trump supporters out there, imagine liberals shouting down a reporter from an outlet that they didn't like. And a Democrat.
Imagine liberals shouting down anybody. Imagine. Wow, it's almost impossible, Jake. You're right. Hard to do that.
Democratic president giving that mob an attaboy. Would that be acceptable? Let's talk about it.
It's your whole party, Jake. All right. So, all right. That's when he was doing the lead. Is he still doing that? Yeah, it's really complicated. So here's another one from Jack Posobiec. He says, here's Jake Tapper, 2017. Falsely reporting that the Russiagate dossier was corroborated. It was all fake, obviously.
We have some breaking news now. CNN has learned new information about that ongoing investigation into those allegations raised in a collection of memos created by a former British intelligence agent at the time he made the memos for political opponents of then candidate Donald Trump. Jim Sciutto and Evan Perez have been working the story. And Jim, let's start with you. What precisely have investigators learned?
What'd you find out?
Well, Jake, for the first time, U.S. investigators say that they have corroborated some of the communications detailed in a 35-page dossier compiled by a former British intelligence agent.
Steele dossier.
CNN was first to report last month that then President-elect Donald Trump and President Barack Obama were briefed on the existence of the memos prior to the inauguration. Until now, U.S. officials have said that none of the content or allegations have been verified. But now, multiple current and former U.S. law enforcement and intelligence officials tell CNN that intelligence intercepts of foreign nationals confirmed that some of the conversations described in the dossier took place between the same individuals on the same days and from the same locations as detailed in the dossier. We should be clear that CNN has not confirmed the...
It's all just propaganda. Isn't it weird to watch this in hindsight? It's like you're watching a movie almost. It feels so fake right now to listen to this. CNN can't confirm it, but it's true. And we're pretty sure. And it's terrible, but we can't confirm it. And they're going to go to this guy. He's going to do the same friggin' routine. They just rewrote the script. And they go back over to Jake. It's all fake. Like, the whole thing was fake. We all know it was fake. Michael Sussman was put on trial. The D.C. jurors acquitted him of it because they hate Trump. The whole operation was an operation. And Jake Tapper was sitting here playing patty cake with these two guys over it. Wild times. Now, here's another clip. What's up, Juanita Broderick? Had this one clipped out and says Jake Tapper is not a real nice guy. Here's another flashback. Dana Bash said, unfortunately for America, Trump is going to be on the ballot. Here's these two.
Here's a question that I have, because it is, again, it seems like the Supreme Court is in a bubble, or perhaps it's some of the justices are in a bubble, and they're not dealing with, I mean, when they say, oh, Congress can do this, there are members of Congress, and we can go through the list, who are never going to do anything that would make life difficult for Donald Trump. So to think that the Congress is going to solve this, they barely can get a post office name these days.
It's true. I mean, and you can go down the list.
Yeah, it's basically, that was your Congress, basically.
Of Supreme Court decisions that kicked whatever issue over across the street over to Congress, whether it is, Obamacare, which is something that the Democrats were very happy about when they did that, a little bit of a different kind of court. Voting rights, I think, is maybe the primary example of what you're saying before this. Look, unfortunately for America, the court isn't necessarily wrong that this is the way the framers wanted it to be. They wanted Congress, the people who are closest to their constituents, to be able to make the rules of the laws.
Unfortunately for America, Supreme Court can't kick Trump off the ballot. All right, so that's Dana Bash, and there's just so many clips on this. It's actually pretty wild. The guy who's done an awesome job assembling all of this is Tom S. Elliott, and so we'll repost this one. But he's got a bunch of them. He's got like 10 of these back to back. So we'll just hit a couple of these. If you want to read or follow all of them, they'll be at the top of our timeline. But Jake Tapper has always been a far left partisan. He says in August 2020, he asked Charlie Dent, is it possible that the Republican Party is now just the party of deranged bigots? Is that who we are now, America? If you say you're a member of the Republican Party, which... I mean, we might be voting that way, but...
In the last week or so, you were talking about the future of the Republican Party, if Trump wins or if he doesn't. In the last week or so, two completely unhinged conspiracy theorists, both of them complete bigots as well, have won Republican congressional nominations. Marjorie Taylor Greene in Georgia in a Republican district, and Laura Loomer in Florida in a district that leans Democratic.
What's up, Laura Loomer?
President
What's
Trump
up, Marjorie?
has praised both of them, gone out of his way to say positive things about these really unlikable candidates in terms of the things that they say and do. Is it possible, Congressman, is it possible that the Republican Party is now the party of deranged bigots and there isn't a place in it any longer for a Charlie Dent?
What kind of a stupid question is that, Jake? Just say it. Just say it. Don't ask a dumb question like that. Come on, Jake. Act like, you got a pair. Just say it. I guess he doesn't have a talk show, so he can't actually say his opinion, so he has to ask dumb questions to unsophisticated guests. Is it possible that they're bigots? What are you supposed to say? Doesn't even matter. It's like, that's your opinion, Jake. Don't ask it. Don't couch the whole thing in a fake question. So here's another one. Tapper is going after shaming people for the masks. He thinks it's racist to vote for President Trump. Here was one with Beto.
Week that you thought President Trump was a white nationalist. I just wonder, sir, President Trump won your home state of Texas by 9 points. Almost 63 million Americans voted for him. Do you think it's racist to vote for President Trump in 2020?
Yes, clearly. Yes. You hate black people if you do.
I think it's really hard after everything that we've seen. From his time as a candidate in 2016 to his repeated warnings of invasions to his repeated calls to send them back, sending back people who are U.S. citizens.
Yes, racist against Latinos. Absolutely, absolutely racist. All right, so here's another one. CNN says, today is the anniversary of a day that threatened to end the American experiment. Today's the day. Anniversary of the day that threatened to end American supremacy. Tapper also, here was a supercut from him, another supercut from Tom Elliott. Remember, CNN used to run cover for the Biden crime family. Here's another one. CNN's Tapper to Blinken. Should we punish Elon Musk because Elon Musk is not helping us support Ukraine? These are like just Jake Tapper's questions. And don't give me this crap. He's just a journalist. Is he a journalist? Is he a comment? He's a journalist, right? He's just asking questions or something. No. These are his opinions. He's just phrasing them as questions. He's like, well, we should punish. He's suggesting to Blinken, we should punish Elon Musk for not supporting Ukraine. He also refused to ask a single journalism question of Ray Epps' attorney. And Ray Epps' attorney, I think, is the same guy who's trying to disbar other lawyers. The 5-6 Project or whatever that was. So a lot of these. And here's another one where he was mocking the Canadian truckers. He is a left-wing hack. He's going to be acting as a left-wing hack during the debate on Thursday, which we will be streaming from Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. And so we cannot wait to see you join us when we're there, watching Jake Tapper, watching Dana Bash, two of the most partisan TDS dementoids on the cable news stations, going out there in a 3-on-1 battle versus Trump himself. But I was also thinking about the analogy. We've used the Batman analogy here many times, but I think it might be Return of the Jedi time when Luke Skywalker is flying into the Death Star. Luke versus the Death Star kind of has a little Trump vibe going on right now. So we're looking forward to covering it. We will be live on Thursday covering the debate from Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. And hopefully you join us as we do. Don't forget to subscribe wherever it is you're watching it. Sometimes I know it's easy to miss that button, but it's right there. Whether you're on Locals or anywhere else, on YouTube, on Rumble. Thanks for following us. We have some great members-only stuff that we do. Membos-only streams in the morning and streams on Saturday. If you want to catch that, thanks for becoming a member on Locals or on YouTube. Otherwise, my friends, we got some great updates coming up in this next video. So make sure you check that one out. We'll see you over there and back here on the next one. All right, my friends. Well, we had 3 segments today. A Jake Tapper segment, which, what can you do? We got some Jack Smith updates. We got some Florida classified documents updates. Jack Smith had a tough time today. I don't know that it's going to go in Trump's favor. We'll save that commentary and reaction for tomorrow. We'll sort of wrap everything up tomorrow and see how the hearings wrap up. But now, my friends, it's time to hear from you. And so let's see what you say about all of this. We've got some great comments that have come in, some amazing donos, some incredible support. Very happy to have you guys here. Thank you for doing it. This one came out from Donut Mind Me, a little bit of a Monday mood going on. Anybody else feel like this cat just kind of lounging, getting back into the swing of things? What's up, Donut? Thanks for clipping for us today. We got Thomas T is a new supporter. Welcome aboard, Thomas T. Thanks for joining us. We got Golden Gaming, 14 months as a member. Golden Gaming says Sleepy Creepy Joe has no chance on Thursday. I don't know. We're going to see what type of nano robots they pump him full of over the weekend. He might come out doing backflips. Michael Allen Hughes, what's up? 16 months as a member, almost 2 months to a baby. Says Biden still needs preparation after 50 years, LOL. Yeah, it's going to be wild to hear this dude who's been in government for 4 or 5 decades come out and blame Trump for all of our problems. Trump's been the guy in charge for 4 years. Joe Biden's been the vice president for 8, the president for 4, and a senator for like 30. He's going to blame Trump and the Republicans. Got it. What's up, Michael? Thanks for that. Lavina, good to see you. Hey, welcome aboard as the supporter, newest supporter. What's up, Lavina? Good. We'll see you tomorrow morning on our members-only morning stream. Tony, hey, what's up? Says, please print mine, Tony Hay Munkets. No one will know me by my real name. Actually, it's pretty close. Okay, if it's close, I'll know that. But if your name is like totally off, so I'm going to print whatever you sign up with in your profile on Circle. So whatever you put in your profile, That's what's getting printed. But Tony Hay, if it matches, then I'll know it's yours. But if your name's like Scott or something, I'm like, who the hell's, like, where's Tony Hay? You know, I don't know. What's up? Tony Hay Munkets is bringing in 5 new membos. Thank you, Tony, for doing that. We love our new membos. And Tony Hay brought in Brian E. Mr. Trump Train's coming in. Michael O. We got Nathan H. Dustin the Win. And it's great to see you. And look, Mima's in the chat. Mima, it's good to see you in the chat. Very nice to have you there. What's up, Bobsco? Bringing in a new membo. What About Me's coming in, courtesy of Bobsco. Thank you, Bobsco, for being a membo. We got Dan. Dan S. on Locals says, I was at the Phoenix International Airport earlier. It's a good airport, right around the corner from me. And there is Air Force 2 on the ground. Harris is on the ground today in Phoenix holding reproductive freedom. I knew today felt a little bit weird. Event on the abortion. It's Arizona. We've been infected by Kamala. It's identified as a campaign event. Useless Kamala, czar of the open border. Yeah, borders are wide open now. Hey, what's up? Betrayed by corrupt scumbags. Says been a membo for 19 months, man. Almost 20 months. That's 2 babies, definitely. Says thank you for the live stream. Thank you, Betrayed. Thanks for being a membo. And thanks for being a membo for so long. This one came in from Glocky. He said, I was reading a story about the poor 12-year-old girl that was eliminated by this piece of crap illegal, only to come to find out the government only monitors illegals for 21 days, and then they just pass them off to the rest of us. Our problem. Hey, what's up, Andres? Says, we can't fix our roads, but we can pay that government prosecutor $300,000 a year to sue the guy running for president. Yeah, and it's not only to just sue a random guy, it's to sue the guy that guy hates, right? Knox is here. Happy Monday, all. So all these Trump gag orders are in effect during the debate. Insane. Yeah, so he can't criticize the very system that prosecuted him. It's insane, actually. Like, what is free speech? What does it matter at all? If we can't hear from a candidate who's been prosecuted by our own system that we would like to redress, it's not like it's not even a real election. Legitimately this time, because we can't talk about some of the most important issues in the country, which would be judicial corruption and political prosecutions. Can't talk about them because the system has said we can't. From Knox. What's up? This one from Glocky. Oh, look who this is. This is a perfect flag. You know who this is. Judge Cannon and the Rittenhouse judge. Don't get brazen with me. Loser prosecutor. Hey, what's up, Husky Mom? Husky Mom, we had an update last week from Sadie. Gave us an update, and we are very sorry to hear about your father's passing, but it was a beautiful commentary, and we sent some love and prayers your way last week. Hope you got them. Hope you felt them. But Husky Mom is giving us an update, my friends. A tough one. Says, good evening, Watcher family. Just letting everyone know that my sister and I are hanging in there. You're here? Just completed one of our most difficult tasks of writing the obituary for our father. And so, Husky Mom, we reiterate our prayers and our love, and we send good healing energy to your family. Always incredibly painful to lose someone you love, someone so profound, but it sounds like you had a lot of love in your family, a lot of love in your life, and we're grateful that you're able to come here and share that with us, because we can help. I think we can send some love. We can send some prayers. We can send some energy your way. And there's no reason for us to have to go through this stuff alone. So thanks for sharing it. And we're going to keep thinking about you. The Husky Mom, Husky Sister, Husky Household, Husky Father up in heaven, watching over us. We pray for Husky and the Husky household. Good to see you there, Husky. Thanks for saying what's up. We got Knox is here. So very sorry for your loss, Husky Mom. Great to have you, Husky. Thanks for that, Knox. This one is from Rain. Says, isn't there argument for alternative funding pretty much admitting to selective and vindictive prosecution? Yeah. We're making it up. Well, we took our money from here because we didn't know where else to take it from. Oh, so you didn't have any money actually appropriated to you? Not really. So if you take this away, we'll go get it from somewhere else. So there is no appropriation at all. Got it. Is that what we want in America? Not really. Hey, it's the Munkets is bringing in 5 new membos. What's going on? Bringing in Save America Trump. Bringing in Maddie A. What's up, Maddie? Pat H is coming in. Scott M is in the house, and Spacey brought in new members. Tony Hay brought in 5 new members, and welcome aboard our friends. Hey, Michelle P. What's up, Michelle? Says, I would really like to know how many cases the DOJ has stopped prosecuting or delayed due to the funding being used for this case and the J6 one. Yeah, good questions on that. I don't know. I don't know if they stopped anything or if they just accelerated. They just got more money. They probably just asked for more money and then just dumped that into the J6 stuff. They always need more. They never, in other words, they're not cutting and maneuvering like, well, we're going to take this 5 million and put it over here. There's like, well, we really need that 5 million. So how about we just print 5 more? That's what they do. What's up, Felix? Says Trump lawyers seem to never object to Smith by stating that all examples of the special counsel that Smith cited were properly appointed by the president and approved by the Senate, and Smith is not, i.e. unconstitutional and illegal. Well, so I think they're stating that historically they haven't been. I think that was the point of those exhibits. It's like, nuh-uh, Bill Barr in the 1990s, he appointed other people who were not confirmed, and no one complained then. It's like, well, you just didn't get caught. Your mama taught you that. Well, Mom, I did this before and nobody got mad. Well, you're not allowed to do that now. I didn't know you were doing it. Now I know you're doing it. You're not doing it anymore. Oh, busted. So good to see you, Felix. Hey, Daryl says, isn't Jack Smith the guy who was sending a message when he bought a Subway sandwich at Subway? Not a good look for Subway so far. Yeah, do you remember that? I don't know what that was about. That was a weird thing for them to do. They did walk down to Subway. They got a foot long. And then Jake Tapper was like, wow, he eats sandwiches just like a real man. You're like, wow, Jake, you're weird. A foot long. I wonder if he got bell peppers on there. Tony, hey, what's up? Gypsy coming in. We got Steve Clark. What's up? Patricia P. Pitchlock is in the house. And Simon C. Gifted Membos, courtesy of Tony Hay Munkets. We love you, Tony. 200 watt studio. 1.21 gigawatts. Oh my gosh. How many gag orders has Stormy Daniels had in her career? A lot more than 200 watts. I'll tell you that. A lot more. 1.21 gigawatts is how many gag orders Stormy's had. That's for sure. Cowboy Rob says, I wonder if Mar-a-Lago is the only place Trump had classified documents. Hope he makes them public, LOL. So he's got some other stuff. He just pulls those out. Yeah, look, Joe Biden had documents in like 3 different locations. His college center, his personal residence, and some other center. Trump had allegedly rigged documents that were already his as the president because they were his under the Constitution. He's got powers of the opinion. It's called the opinions clause. He has the power to have the opinions in writing of his branch. Felix, is anyone else seeing all NATO gearing up for a conflict? Yes. We were talking about that this morning. In Idaho, cutting off water to farms that have planted crops. War and famine is the new coming Democrat totalitarian rule. Yeah, we saw that. Mike Morrell, the same guy who also created the 51 intelligence agents lie letter that they signed and shoved down our throats to rig the 2020 election, is now screaming about terrorist attacks. We are so unprepared for terrorist attacks. Like, oh, great. So you're engineering that one too. Good. Hey, Voice of the People. Good to see you. And they're doing some great streams over there. I don't know if you guys have been following the off-label podcast, but you should check them out. Voice of the People says, bringing in 10 people. Gary B's coming in. Corey C. What's up, Mr. Twister? We got Copious Cookies. Skippy Peanut Butter. Pretty good brand. John H. Tyler G. Mr. T's coming in. Chris JJ and Albert White in the house. Great to have you. Thanks for joining us. New members brought in courtesy of Voice of the People. Hey, the Rubos are in the house, and the Rubos are sending in some nice gift packages for those of you who are joining us in Vegas. Shout out to our friends at Rubo's Salt Shop, rubosaltshop.com. They got the best salt in the whole world. It comes from the oceans of France. Hey, God bless and keep Judge Arlene Cannon. And the prayers from the Rubos are super powerful. So that's a strong one. John Libby, what's up? Says, we all know Joe is slow and senile. We are all worried that Trump is not going to stay calm, but the real issue is CNN giving Jake saltpeter over excitement or something. I don't know where that one was going, John, but it sounds like it was about to get real hot there. And Yeah, I think we're all a little nervous about that. I think that's fair because we could see the first debate with Trump versus Biden was not that great for Trump. We were all, oh gosh, it doesn't look so good. But if Trump has a different demeanor about him, I think he could just crush. Like if he had the demeanor that he had on the All In podcast, it's very calming, very middle of the road America, like home run. So we'll see, but he could also come out like a Trump bulldozer and he could crush that way too. He could do it many different ways. Trump has multiple combos. You don't need, he doesn't have a go-to move every time. He's got many combos. He could do it many ways. We'll see. Cowboy Rob, what's up? What would the reaction have been if Trump had his DOJ and his FBI do the same thing to Hillary? Oh, it'd be the end of American democracy all day. With the use of force in place, they would have lost it all day. They would have been crying. They would have, yeah. Could you even imagine? They raided his house with plainclothes FBI agents armed to the teeth. Chubby says, so the prosecution represents the government, right? Isn't the primary function of the First Amendment to protect against government censorship of speech? Pretty much, yeah. Especially through intermediaries. Thus, isn't the prosecution trying to limit Trump's speech a direct violation of the First Amendment? Sure seems clear to me. Andre says, AOC said, are you ready to fight? Is that not a call for violence? This old guy says, she had the audacity to say ordinary people, as opposed to MSNBC journalists, extraordinary idiots. Yeah, like ordinary, reasonable people. Let's dumb this down for the peasants of America. Hopefully they can understand this. Felix says, they were looking for another Ruby Ridge or Branch Davidian Waco. Unexisting 76 people, including women and children. Thank you, Reno DOJ. One of the sickest things ever. And it's wild to study Waco. It's such a wild, those documentaries are just captivating. In recent Little Rock problem, that was the desired outcome, using the Reno regulations to do the lawfare. Crash says, do you know, here's one, kids, do you know why we are permanently surrounded by those barbed fences? I do, Mommy. It's to keep the terrorists out so we can all enjoy our freedoms. Isn't that fun? Yeah, good thing our government is there to protect us. Man, I sleep better at night knowing our government is there, and Anthony Blinken is flying all over the world to stop World War III. Whew, what a relief. Hey, what's up, Penny? Penny's over on Nurse Penny on Rumble. Says, who do I have to mud wrestle to have you as a guest on my show? Well, that's a great question. Alina Abba. As soon as you get that done, let me know. We'll do it immediately. In fact, if you live stream it, I'd love to be a guest. What's up? We got a new baby in the house. Hey, welcome, new babies. We got new babies. Great to see you. Ray Ronk, what's up? 9 months as a membo. We've got a new baby in the house. 45 years of life. Thanks. Good to see you. We got Crash in the house. Says Rob, hey, this was for Ray. This is a good one from Ray. 9 months as a membo. I didn't even read the comment. Learn more in 9 months than 45 years of life. Thanks. Ray, I don't know that that's true at all. But I'm really grateful for that comment. And welcome aboard to our new baby. And Ray, I'm really glad you're here. I've gotten your emails and you're doing great work out there. So thanks for saying that. Learn more in 9 months than 45 years of life. Amazing. What's up? We got this one from Crash. Says, Rob, I don't know about your mom, but my mom told me a bunch that just because my buddies were doing it doesn't make it right or legal. All day. All day. Oh, would your friends jump off a cliff too? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, they would. Would you jump off a cliff with them? I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of a bad question for me because I like to jump off cliffs. We had mountains in the back. We were always on the mountains. So it's like, yeah, probably. I probably would. Well, so my mom had to, kind of, it wasn't a good analogy for me, but she did say it and I got the point. Would your friends jump off a cliff? Would you jump off with them? It's like, how tall's the cliff? I don't know. Maybe. I could. Here's another one. Felix. But generally not. Okay. When your friends are doing stupid things, that's the point of the story. That's the moral of the story. I understand, Mom. I understand. But it kind of depends. I like, also to have some fun sometimes. Felix, were any of those appointment picks not properly appointed by Jack Smith? But they were appointed by the president and approved by the Senate as a federal judge. They were vetted by proper appointments. Yeah, so what I'm saying is I don't know which ones you're referencing, Felix. If the ones from 1994, like the federal judges, like those two federal judges that Bill Barr appointed, probably not ever appointed as U.S. attorneys. Maybe they were. I don't know. Maybe they were appointed as U.S. attorneys and then they got promoted to judges at some point. Maybe. But I think their point, Jack Smith's point, is that they were never appointed as U.S. attorneys. So there are a lot of examples of U.S. attorneys not being appointed as special counsels. I think that was the point. But again, that's Crash's point. We don't care if they were done illegally. You have to do it right. Other people should have challenged it. But they didn't. Hey, what's up? Felix says, were any of those appointment picks not properly appointed? We got that one from Felix. Voice says, am I going to have to fly out there and pull fiber optic net for you, brother? Your net seems to be dragging its butt sometimes. That sounds great, man. If you want to come out and pull some new inner tubes, love to have you here doing that. That sounds awesome. I'm always down for more faster tubes. The Rubos. Hey, breaking. Julian Assange reaches a plea deal with the U.S., allowing him to go free after spending the last 5 years in prison. Holy moly. Wow. Wow. That's really tremendous news at first glance. That's tremendous news. So I know there will be people who say he shouldn't plead guilty to anything, right? Like that'll be the first criticism. He's pleading guilty for what? Exposing our corrupt government? Like, yeah, I get that totally. But if he can go free and be done with this whole thing, that's a big win. All day, big win. This dude has been put through the ringer in his life for exposing our corrupt, deep state, useless government. And so if he'll be able to get out of custody and come out and speak, that's a big win. That's a big win. So that's curious. Why did the DOJ do that right now? That's very curious. A lot to unpack there. So thanks for flagging that. Have to look into that one. I don't want to see what the plea deal looks like. I want to see the documents. What does the document look like? What's the deal? Founder been held out in a prison outside London for the last 5 years, fought extradition. Interesting. Hey, what's up? Liberum says they are scared. They are scared, sore losers. They are scared, sore losers. Trump 2024. Trump 2024. Good to see you, Liberum. Hey, and here's one. Hey, what's up, concert chick? Check this one out. Look at this real handsome pup in the house. Is this it could be a beautiful young lady also. Very, very beautiful young woman. Look at this handsome pup over there. Hanging out with us. Good to see you. Shout out to that real beautiful pup in the house. Come over here. Come here. Come here. Come here, Scratchy. All right, what's up, Salty Sarge? Says Jack be nimble, Jack be slick, but it's Cannon's house and she has the stick. Oh, these people are in the pantry trying to eat the way out of the trap that they've laid. Good to see you, Salty. Jack be nimble, Jack be slick, but in Cannon's house, she has the stick. Ooh, it's a fun one. NY says, I will be recording CNN's coverage so I don't lose the highlights of Jake Tapper in his future struggle session once he realized Trump has won. We'll see what Jake does, if he comes out on his best behavior or not. We'll see. Hey, Mike H. says, Rob, my feet hurt. I'm a month past due. Oh my gosh, it still hasn't come out yet? We should probably see a doctor on that one, Mike. I think they might have to go get it. Thanks for being a member for 10 months. And you're about to pop any minute. Good luck. Hey, Glocky says, Catherine Herridge is a journalist. Jake Yapper Tapper is a propagandist. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, people who actually investigate things and bring the news to us. What is Jake Tapper? Is he just a news reader? Like, what are the people who just read it? Are they called journalists or are they just like anchors, I guess? They're just news anchors. That's all they do is anchor the news. Whatever. I guess, is he an anchor, not a journalist? Hey, what's up? Cy Bria says, what's going on? 3 months as a membo. Says, not batting 1,000 today, but we love you and the stream. Thank you for that, Cy Breeze. I appreciate that. 3 months as a membo. Don't know if you're talking about yourself or the stream, which was maybe subpar today. Apologies, but thanks for being here. Jennifer says, please only print Jennifer/B job secure for me, Robert. I can explain why in person on Saturday. All right, so I will definitely not remember any of these. So Jennifer, if you could just update, just as a PSA for everybody, just update your stuff on the profile. But I'm looking forward to understanding what this means. when we print your badge. Thank you for that, Jennifer. And I will remember them if they're updated on Circle, because I will not remember that here. What's up? NY says, meanwhile, DA Bragg has dropped the charges of 31 to 46 defendants in Colombia. Literally a building was taken. His workers were held hostage, millions in damage. Bragg couldn't get it together to charge these terrorists, but he could whip together a case to charge Trump in the hush money case. Good one. Michelle P. says, U.S. just entered into a plea deal with Assange. No jail time in the U.S. That is amazing. Really great. Voice of the People says, Husky Mom, sorry for your loss and prayers to you all. Lots of prayers going out to the Husky Mom household. Voice, thanks for sending that one in. And Michelle P., thanks for that flag as well. We got this one from Andres. Says, much love to the Husky Mom and the household. Prayers headed your way. We've got this from Tobo. If Biden gets reelected, I'd leave if I weren't so old and there was a better place to go. Australia is woke too. Europe is overwhelmed with migrants too. We need Trump very badly, no doubt. Felix says, who wants to take odds on Trump getting Biden to admit to getting the Biden acolytes to prosecute and gag Trump? I believe Biden's hubris will trap him. You're saying that Trump would get him to admit that at the trial, at the debate? Very curious. We'll see what happens there. Jack. Hey, what's up, Jack M? First time here. Amazing. First month's the hardest. It gets easier from there. A friend sent me. Man, shout out to your friend. Whoever that is. Shout out to the friends. We love friends who invite other friends here. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us, sir. Thank you, Jack. Thanks for being here. And tell your friend we said thank you as well. We really appreciate that. It's a great way to help us reach more people because the algorithm doesn't help a lot because we're not authoritative, you know. Hey, what's up, Salty? Says Trump will get a set of steak knives if he gets his 5th gag order, or so I'm told. Like a second place, like in the movie Always Be Closing. First set is whatever, new car. Second prize is a set of steak knives, right? Glocky says, breaking news, Julian Assange going to be taking a plea deal to avoid American prison. Awesome flag. Thanks, Glocky. Bob Kelly, what's up? Can the Secretary of Defense appoint independent warlords as long as they are self-funded? I guess according to the DOJ, sure. Why not? They can just form their own entire branches of government and their own entire, military agencies. Like you want a new Space Force or something, just make it. Make it up and you can fund it yourself. Nobody can even do anything about it. It's absolute madness, Bob Kelly. We have a separate system of government where they're separated for a reason. Not happening here. What's up, Finn? Says, what if Trump breaks the gag order during the debate? It's not like they're going to just march in and arrest him right there. Do it. Yeah, they would. I mean, the legal answer is they would have to go through a process. So there would be a gag order. Then they'd submit a motion. He violated the gag order, have a hearing. And then there would be some consequence after that. But it's the fact that it exists is a problem. It's chilling the speech. And we as the people who want to watch this debate and hear from the person who's going through the system, we want to hear about it. This one from Andre says, much love to you all. Stay prepared and learn how to grow food if needed. This one from NY says, the judges were appointed through the Senate through advice and consent and subject to impeachment. Smith never went through that process. I guess that's true. They weren't appointed as prosecutors. I'm thinking about prosecutors for the special counsel position. But I guess you could still say that, yeah, they were appointed through 2 branches of government. I guess you could make that same claim because they were both federal judges, weren't they? It's a great point, NY. Great point. Felix is here. Now they will be able to unexist Julian. No, we're hopeful that does not happen at all. Julian's going to be a hero. He's going to come out, have a lot of love, a lot of protection, a lot of good energy at his back. Felix, Tapper is a presenter, like a game show host. That's really what it feels like. It's much more of just, he just reads what's on the screen. Ken L. says 28 U.S. Code 543 defines special attorney as one that assists a U.S. attorney. So private citizens that are appointed using Section 515 need to work under a U.S. attorney. Right. And yeah, I think that's the distinction between an inferior officer and a superior officer. Does Jack Smith have these abilities or did he sign off on these things? Did Garland sign off on these things? Did Biden sign off on these things? What's up, Cliff? Says, based on the recent chatter from SCOTUS, what is your prediction on immunity? What's up, Cliff? Jane and I will see you in Vegas on the 29th. Amazing. So you guys are going to be there for the meetup. Cliff Norman in the house. Great to see you. Well, I think that there will be presidential immunity. I don't know what date it will come out. I think they set 3 days this week. So probably Friday, they'll drop the immunity decision. If I had to guess, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. How about Friday? Feels like it might be a good Friday. And it'll be perfect because I'll be in Vegas. It'll be the most difficult for us to talk about while I'm out of town. So that's when they'll drop it. It'll be great. So I think that's probably what's going to happen. But I do think that there will be presidential immunity. I think Trump will have presidential immunity. I think the next question is, how broad is it? And are we going to have an evidentiary hearing back in Judge Chutkan's courtroom? I think the answer is probably yes. I think they'll find that there's presidential immunity, and I think it'll have to go back down to Judge Chutkan's courtroom for a determination on the new standard, maybe for an evidentiary hearing. I think that's probably what will happen. I don't know that the Supreme Court will deal with it. Like, the Supreme Court could come out and just deal with it. I kind of think they might do that too. I don't know that they'll do that. Okay, I'm sticking with my first answer. Presidential immunity exists. There's a question about a test, whatever the test is. There's an outer limits test. So they might even have a test in Chutkan's courtroom. It's going to get messy. I don't know. Because the ultimate test is Congress. I think the right test is Congress. Did Congress impeach this person? No. Well, they did, but they didn't convict him. So therefore, he's immune for those acts. The J6 case is related to, the right decision is that the J6 case is related to the impeachment. Trump was impeached and acquitted, not convicted. So the case is now moot. He has presidential immunity over this incident, and so the case is dismissed. That's the right solution. I don't know that SCOTUS will do that. I think they'll probably split it. They'll probably cobble together a test. They'll send the test back down to Chutkan. We'll have some more hearings in comportment with the test. They'll try to see if they can save 1 or 2 charges that aren't presidentially immune because they're outside the perimeter, outer bounds, whatever. And we'll just keep it going. It'll go back. And she might try to get this trial back on track before the election. So they're going to try to save the charges. SCOTUS will issue a test, and then Chutkan will have to apply the test. Even though I think that's probably the wrong answer. I think the right answer is that the actual test is through Congress. Otherwise, the president is immune. I think my interpretation of immunity is much broader than SCOTUS will find. But I think they will still find immunity. Felix said, anybody who says there's no presidential immunity, I think, is going to be found dead wrong on that. Felix says, debate with a gag order should speak volumes about who the actual dictator is and the political party who owns that dictator. It's the Democrats. Yeah, no other party, no other candidate, no other person. We've had civil wars here. No one's prosecuted presidents and opponents who are running for president. Never happened. Happening now. Who's the dictator? Tasadaka, what's up? Says, thanks, Rob, for the education and educating in an entertaining way. It's never boring. Well, it's true. We're going through wild times right now. I don't think it'd be boring if I tried to make it boring. It's just like, what the hell is happening? What's up, Bodie? 1 year as a member. Amazing, Bodie. Thanks for that. Been around for so long. You are a staple in my days, and I appreciate you. Thank you, Bodie. Thanks for saying that. And I understand that completely. I completely understand that because I feel it. I feel the same way. So I feel the same way. I feel when we miss our time together, it doesn't feel quite right. It feels like it's kind of there's something that needs to be done. We got to talk about something because there's business to attend to here. So I totally understand that, Bodie. And I hope that you feel as I do, that we're growing together, we're learning, we're having some fun, we're making some progress, and we're contributing, I think, to the positive development of our world, our communities, our country, our friends, our families, all the things. So thanks for saying that, Bodie. Really, it means a lot. And NY said this, says they set up their own failure if you believe Mises' argument. By not being subject to Congress's oversight through appropriations and Senate impeachment, they have created the fourth branch of government we all know exists in the DOJ. It's in the flesh as Jack Smith. There is no check against him. Therefore, he is unconstitutional. That's right. We don't know what the check is. Apparently, it's not Garland, and apparently, it's not Congress. So it's just a free-for-all, which is why often when I say here that the justice system, it may be the biggest issue, if it's not the biggest issue, is because it is an entirely separate branch of government. It's acting as that. And so how do you have a country if you have essentially one agency that's really running everything? And you could say it's the DOJ, you could say it's the CIA, whatever you pick. There's a bunch of unelected people who are controlling a lot right now. What's up? We got some friends on X. We're saying, hey to John Cobb, says cheap fake tapper. Irene says, I like Judge Cannon more and more every day. We need this. The unredacted docs prove it. This one from George says they left and all their cheap fakes. The left and all their cheap fakes. And apparently they had a rough day in Georgia too. Was it a bad day over there? What's up, troublemaker Jonah? Says, didn't law school teach you the Fourth Amendment does not apply to FISA? I don't know that anything applies to FISA. They can just do whatever they want. Even the Constitution doesn't apply. They can just crap all over it. And then Christopher Wray comes out and says, oh, no, we'll fix it. And everybody just says, okay, nice job. We're glad you did that. All right. And so we said what's up to our friends on X, my friends. We are going to go over to locals and hang out for a bit. What's up, Spuds? Says Trump doesn't have to violate the gag order. He just has to make it known that it exists during the debate. And maybe that will cause people to look into it a little bit more and figure out what's going on. We'll see. All right. And so, my friends, we are wrapping up right now. We're going to go over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com to hang out, do our members only debrief and after party. We'd love to have you join us. We do members streams in the morning if you're on YouTube and locals, and we do after parties only on locals as soon as we're done here when we go live. So come and join us. Come check it out. And remember, we've also got our website, robertgovea.com. We do show reports. We have our show calendar. All the PDFs that we review, we put up there on the website. We've also got watcherlodge.com, which is where we're meeting up this weekend in Vegas at watcherlodge.com. Grab your tickets. We're going to have a nice lunch. We're going to have a meetup, have some conversation, get to know each other, and have some fun. It's going to be great. So I'm very much looking forward to it. And we're going to be packing up and heading over there on Wednesday, doing the debate here live from Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. It's going to be the best debate. We're going to be streaming directly from Trump's internet server, his router that hopefully has higher bandwidth than apparently mine does. It's going to be great because we'll be connected, and I'm looking forward to it. But my friends, that is going to be it for us on the day. Before we wrap it up, I want to say what's up and thanks to our mods and our amazing meme smiths who mod the fort down for us and keep things so beautiful and nice and orderly. Big shout outs go to K Bean, Just Cause in the house. What's up, Playing Hooky, Ronnie Cole, our friend Zach, Janek, Dog Digger, Economy Pilot, Donut Mind Me. We got Carrie B and Zulu clipping for us. We got our meme smiths, Sleepy Dog Lee, Nathan N810, Geegum Geegum, and Glocky McGlock, along with Elliot, our doc master. And we had Donut and John McGarvey clipping hard for us today. Grateful for those gentlemen as well. But my friends, that is it for us on the day. We are going over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com. We'd love to see you over there. But if we don't, well, we are going to be back here tomorrow to get into it all again. And in order to do that, we're going to need to see you right back here so that together, with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system with the hope of finding justice. Make it a beautiful night, my friends. Sleep very well. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.